What's going on, everyone? My name is Scorpion, coach of the L.E.A.F agents, and welcome back to Battle Hub Draft League Season 1, Week 8. The penultimate episode today, where my team, the L.E.A.F agents, are taking on Emerald Miner, head coach of the Demewlition force. The one and only coach that is completely undefeated as of right now. So today's matchup is sure to be a dangerous one. You guys will know the deal by now. I'm going to have my usual matchup overview and team builder at the start of the video, and the Wi-Fi battle, hopefully not showdown battle, will follow. If you're just here for said battle, there's a timestamp for it in the description down below as usual, but please feel free to stick around as today's matchup is about to get very, very intense. So please leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and let's get this party started. Before I go any further, I want to have a quick overview of the standings at the time of recording this video. My team, the L.E.A.F agents, are sitting at 8th place in the BHDL on a 4-3 record and with a +1 differential. This means that the last 2 weeks are going to be very, very important for us, as we need to secure those last 2 wins to end up on that comfortable 6-3 record that will allow us to sneak into playoffs after the regular season. So we're going to have to try our absolute hardest these last couple of weeks. Spoiler alert, today in this week we are facing Emerald Miner, head coach of the Demewlition force, and in week 9, the final week, we're going to be taking on the Machesney Park Slowpokes, coached by AppRider54, who is currently sitting at 5th place. So let's try to do our best, just to give you guys a little heads up of what it's looking like at this moment. Now let's have a quick look at the matchup here. Honestly, just looking at it from this, I am not surprised to see that Emerald Miner has gone undefeated so far in the BHDL, because his team is insane. He's got the Dragapult, the Tinglu, Enamorous, Slowbro, Rotom-Mow, Tauros Paldea Fire, Forretress, Alolan Muck, Lycanroc Midday Form, Ditto, and the Articuno. So that is a very, very powerful team right there. Obviously, Dragapult is the scariest one by far, as that Pokemon can do about a billion different things and outspeed even my very fast newest L.E.A.F agent in Barraskewda. As a matter of fact, I believe Dragapult is actually the #1 kill leader in the BHDL right now. I could be wrong, but it's definitely up there. So that one by itself is just an absolute unit. He's also got a very solid physically defensive core with Slowbro and Forretress, which is very tough to break, and a specially defensive core with Tinglu and Alolan Muck. And he's even got the Ditto that can use your own sweepers against you. So, my god, this team I think is very, very well drafted, and like I said earlier, I'm not surprised to see that this team has gone undefeated. So this week's matchup was insanely hard to tackle, but let's get into the team I'm actually bringing to tackle this uphill matchup. So here it is, the team that we are bringing to Week 8. Now, just from looking at it, you might be able to guess we are not going to mess around with this battle. This team of 6 right here is what I would probably consider is the strongest combination of 6 that the L.E.A.F agents are capable of bringing to any battle. This team of 6 is like the highest sort of quality of Pokemon on my team, and that is exactly what I'm going to use to try to tackle this uphill battle. So, let me explain the methodology behind this team from start to finish. So starting off, we have our trusty Great Tusk, the MVP of our team so far, the Pokemon that we have brought to every single battle, and once again bringing a different set that we've unintentionally done so throughout the season. This week we are bringing an Expert Belt Great Tusk, because Great Tusk's very weird coverage options actually allow us to break open the opponent's defensive core very, very well. Its access to Fire Fang allows us to 2-hit KO Forretress, and Mega Horn allows us to 1-hit KO Rotom-Mow and 2-hit KO Slowbro, while also outspeeding them. So that is going to be a very, very useful way to break open the opponent's defenses. Earthquake does good damage to the rest of the team, and Rapid Spin allows us to spin away the hazards that Tinglu and Forretress might set up, which they are very good at doing, and that will obviously greatly assist Moltres, because we're not running heavy-duty boots on that. Next up, we obviously are bringing our trusty mascot, Iron Leaves. We could not bring it at home for this week. We need you. And we are bringing back the trusty Booster Energy Speed and Swords Dance set as our late game cleaner. Iron Leaves is really going to appreciate the punched holes that Great Tusk can put into Forretress and Slowbro mainly, and it goes right through the opponent's team after the slightest chip on a couple of Pokemon. With the Boost Energy, we outspeed pretty much everything and speed tie even with a Choice Scarf Ditto, as Ditto does not actually copy the speed boost from Quark Drive. And the combination of Psyblade and Terra Fighting Boost at close combat hits the entire team for insanely good damage, while Night Slash allows us to have a safe, strong move to click against Ditto, Dragapult, and Slowbro. To accompany these two, we have Moltres coming back once again, as it actually has a very good matchup against my opponent's team. With the physically defensive set, Moltres is able to scout the sets of Pokemon like Dragapult to an extent, as well as walling Pokemon like Enamorus, Alolan Muk, and Tauros, or even the Tinglu very, very well once it's been burned. Fire Spin with the Binding Band is coming back this week, as it allows us to very rapidly rack up chip damage to these Pokemon, which Iron Leaves is once again really, really going to appreciate. Protect is there to allow us to stall out more turns of Fire Spin and burn damage, while also giving us a scouting option, as quite a few Pokemon on Emerald Miner's team can run very, very unpredictable sets. So that is what that's going to be very, very useful for. I'm very, very happy to have Moltres on the team back this week. Next up, we are bringing Kingambit, who I honestly cannot physically leave at home when there's a Dragapult on the opposing team. It's going to be very useful this week. The combination of Counter Gleaf, Sucker Punch, and Iron Head, the usual stabs, allows us to do very, very well against the walls of the team, as well as the offensive threats, while Swords Dance gives us another potential late-game cleaning option in case Iron Leaves can't finish the job. Or it might be able to punch some holes for Iron Leaves. Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. The Chople Berry allows us to take Focus Blast and Superpower from Enamorus, Body Press from Slowbro, Tinglu, and Forretress, and Close Combat from Lycanroc, which gives us better longevity to fire off Kingambit's, to fire off its strong stabs. I actually decided against something like Zen Headbutt for the Tauros this week, mainly because 4 of my other team members actually do really well against that already, and if Tauros doesn't come at all, then I can see Kingambit doing a lot of work for us this week, so very happy to have that on the team as well. Let's see, then Malfunction, the Rotom Wash, is coming back this week, finally with an offensive set this time, rocking the Choice Specs for the first time in this league. Rotom Speed Tier actually allows it to run a lot of HP investment, because a lot of the Pokemon that Rotom outspeeds are much, much slower than it, and the Pokemon that it doesn't outspeed, it doesn't even have a hope in hell of outspeeding even by speed creeping, so we are running a lot of HP investment for that reason, with the 12 speed EVs that will allow us to speed creep a minimum speed Articuno. The combination of Hydro Pump and Volt Switch coming off of a max special attack invested Rotom with even a modest nature really dents the opposing team hard, while Shadow Ball allows us to big damage Dragapult, the only Pokemon on the team that resists both stabs. And then last but not least, we are also packing Trick as the last move, in case we feel the need to either put it on a opposing wall, or if we want to free ourselves from the choice restriction. So I think Rotom is once again going to be able to put a lot of holes into the opposing team nicely here, as well as keeping up momentum with the next member of the team, which is going to be the Hydreigon that we are bringing back again. This time as a Choice Scarper to revenge kill Pokemon like Lycanroc, Enamorus to an extent, but mainly obviously the Dragapult. I can't stress enough how much of a threat Dragapult is. I'm packing a lot of preparation for it. The combination of Dark Pulse and Draco Meteor hits many Pokemon for good damage, while Fire Blast melts Fortress, Articuno, and Rotom before terrestrialization, should they stand in our way. With the designated 164 speed EVs and a Tibet Nature, we always outspeed the entire unboosted opposing team, as well as a Rotom even if that thing is Choice Scarf itself. So this thing is going to form a nice Volturn core together with Rotom Wash, as they allow us to keep up momentum and let us finish off the opponent with Kingambit or Iron Leaves. So that is going to be the team and our game plan for BHDL Week 8. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. I'm very nervous for this battle myself, but I'm sure it'll be a good one regardless. Obviously, good luck, have fun Emerald Miner for it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little section as well. So let's get into the battle. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are with the battle against Emerald Miner. Now, before we go any further, you might be able to see from the team that we are using, this is not my footage, this is the footage of my opponent, because he was also recording the battle at this time. And I owe you guys an apology, because the reason we are watching it from his side is because in the nervousness of everything before the battle, this is a very, very important battle for me, I actually should have forgot to hit record. So I deeply apologize about that. Luckily, unlike last week, we do still have a Wi-Fi battle, to watch this week. But as you can see, here is me on the opposing side instead of on the side that we are watching from. So we're going to be watching from Emerald Miner's POV. Here's the team that he's brought, and there's my team. So I'm going to be giving you guys a post-commentary of my thought process throughout this battle. My opponent has already uploaded this battle. He's got a YouTube channel, so make sure to go check him out. I'll put a link to his channel in the description down below. But for now, let's enjoy the Wi-Fi battle with the teams that we have brought, as this is about to get very intense, like I said in the intro. So, from the team preview, as you can see, again, I'm still going to pretend that this is my POV. He has got the Enamorus, the Rotom, the Alolan Muck, the Dragapult, the Lycanroc, and the Fortress. So, first of all, I was actually very, very shocked not to see the Tinglu. That thing was a very, very strong special ball into my team. That's also kind of why we have the Binding Band on Moltres to be able to chip that thing down. But it turns out that that thing is not going to be as much of an issue. 2 out of the 3 Terra Captains are still here, the Rotom and the Lycanroc. So that's definitely going to be quite scary. So I decided to lead off with my Hydreigon for this one, because I thought it would have a good matchup against most of the team, and even if it's not a favorable matchup, I can just U-turn out. So that was going to be my play for this battle. Obviously, it is Choice Scarfed, as I said in the intro, mainly to deal with the Hydreigon. So we're going to get into the battle of BHDL Week 8. So let's go. As you see, I do lead off with Ghidorah, my Hydreigon over here, and Emerald Miner leads off with the Rotom. So that's a very decent matchup for me at the start. I can just straight up go for a Fire Blast. However, as I kind of anticipated at the start a little bit, I thought that this Rotom may have been Terra Fairy, which is actually why I switched, little update, I actually switched my Great Tusk's moveset to Heavy Slam instead of Mega Horn, because I actually wasn't as afraid of the Slowbro initially, because Iron Leaves already deals with Slowbro very well. So I decided to click Fire Blast on the first turn here to try and get rid of the Rotom straight away, because if we are both Scarfed, Hydreigon is EV to exactly outspeed a Scarf Rotom. However, as you may have just been able to see, I'm going to try not to spoil the rest of the turns too much, because obviously I already know how this battle is going to go. I decided to try and chance it and go for the KO on the Rotom on the very, very first turn. Because I honestly did not think that my opponent would hit the Terrestrialization on turn 1, but he does, and he has the exact right Terra type for this same matchup. Obviously, Hydreigon, was a quite anticipated Pokemon on my team, so he's going to hit me with the Terra Fairy, Terrestrializing there, which also gets rid of his Fire weakness. And as I said earlier, I do go for the Fire Blast. It still gets a lot of good chip on the Rotom, which is going to really come in clutch down the line. But he's going to go for the Terra Blast. We are not Focus Sashed, unlike last week, which is unfortunate. And we do, unfortunately, lose Hydreigon turn 1. So Hydreigon goes down to the Rotom. Honestly, it's a bit of a meme at this point how easily Hydreigon goes down, in my BHDL matches. But we did still get some good chip off on the Rotom, and I honestly thought that this thing, there was no way in hell that thing wasn't going to be choiced. So at this point, I was thinking, it might be a Rotom, which obviously has like Electric, Grass, and now Fairy coverage. I am thinking that this thing is more than likely locked into the Terra Blast. Whether or not it's Scarf or Specs, I don't know yet, because again, I do still outspeed a Scarf Rotom. And obviously from the damage, I also wasn't able to judge if it's Specs or not, because there's no way in hell that doesn't kill Hydreigon, unless I was Rosella Berry. But because I thought he was choice locked, I didn't think he would be able to click Leaf Storm, so I decided to go into my Rotom Wash, and this is where we have the Rotom Showdown. Because of this thing's Terrestrialization, it is now no longer resistant to both of my stabs. It's neutral to Electric and Water. So because of the fact that I thought this thing was locked in, even if it was Specs, it was still going to take quite a hefty chunk. And even a Specs Terra Blast Fairy, I would take rather well, because obviously, despite being choice Specs myself, spoiler alert, as you can see, we're actually both choice Specs. I will still take his Terra Blast rather well, because of my HP investment. So I decided to go just for a Volt Switches for momentum, because he does not have the Tinglu. He has no ground types to defend himself against this. So he decides to go into the Alolan Muck, which is especially defensive wall. And I'm going to go for my Volt Switch, which does quite a lot of damage, and likely reveals to my opponent that I am Choice Specs. So that is obviously good information for him. And here, obviously, I'm able to go for my plan that I was going to do from the start, which is weakening the team for Iron Leafs to come through. We really get going with the Iron Leafs plan again, so I'm going to go into my Bedrock, the Great Tusk. So Great Tusk obviously greatly threatens the Alolan Muck. We obviously have Earthquake with the Expert Belt, which is easily going to take this thing out. So he's probably forced to switch here. Now, my opponent does have a Terra Fairy Rotom and an Enamorus on the team, which resists/are immune to Great Tusk stabs. And that is why I'm very, very glad that I actually switched to Heavy Slam at the last moment. So that was going to be my choice here. as I figured there's no way he's going to stay in with the Alolan Muck, and that would easily get rid of the Rotom-Mow or even the Enamours. It easily one-shots Enamor as well, thanks to the Expert Belt, because I was also willing to gamble that the Fortress wouldn't want to come in on one of Great Tusk's stabs. Now, as you can see, my opponent is actually considering going into the Rotom-Mow. He nearly does it, but unfortunately my opponent makes a very, very good play and scouts for it with the Protect, obviously to go for some to get some extra Black Sludge recovery. So unfortunately my opponent scouts for that, and I do reveal the Heavy Slam to him. So now he knows that the Heavy Slam is there, and I can actually hit his Enamours and Rotom-Mow for very, very good damage. So now the mind games begin. Is he going to stay in, or is he not going to stay in? My opponent makes the Fortress play. I decide actually to take a bit of a risk. Because I know that the Alolan Muck, even if it does stay in, can't actually threaten me too much. And he also knows, or he doesn't quite know if I'm Choice Banded or not. So obviously he still wouldn't want to risk his other Pokemon getting weakened. Like, he doesn't know my item choice at the moment. Obviously I'm Expert Belt, as you guys saw in the team preview. So again, this is very much a mind game that's going to be happening here. I was still very much considering going for some other moves here. And I do see the withdraw here. So at this point I'm thinking, yes, this is going to be great. We're going to get a knockout here because I did in fact go for the Heavy Slam again. But unfortunately my opponent predicts me to do that and goes into the Fortress. A nice safe middle ground. However, at this point, we are still pretty much in a position that we want to be in, because Fortress can't really threaten me too much. The best it can do is what it does right now, which is the Stealth Rocks, and we have got the Expert Belt Fire Fang, which is going to do a lot of damage to the Fortress. And again, that is perfect for Iron Leaves to come in, because that thing, this thing still very much walls my Iron Leaves, or at least if it's at full health. But now, because of the damage it's taken, the team is getting softened up nicely. We are definitely, obviously, in a disadvantaged position at the moment when it comes to momentum, or we will be soon, sorry. But this is looking great already. Like, the team's getting nice and low. So at this point, I was thinking, you know what? You're not going to want to risk your Fortress probably, and I don't think you'd go Dragapult hard on a Great Tusk that can have knockoff. He knows I'm not Choice Banded by now, so I actually decide to try to get rid of the rocks here with my Rapid Spin, because obviously that's what Great Tusk is useful for. And again, because I know he's not, because he knows that I'm not choiced, I really didn't think he would swap in his Dragapult here. But as you will see in a second, that is actually what he decides to do. So my opponent is honestly reading me quite well. I'm very, very impressed, I have to say, by how well Emerald Miner was calling my plays. But I definitely was enjoying this battle. Like, there was some very, very strong mind games going on. So I do try the Rapid Spin. Obviously it fails because Dragapult is a Ghost type. And now I'm honestly wondering what this thing can hit me with. Obviously, if it's Specs, it's going to be able to do a lot of damage against me. However, that does also open up the rest of my team. So I didn't think he would do that straight away. So I'm currently thinking about what I should do with my Great Tusk. Because getting rid of these rocks are still going to be important for me, because my Moltres is not carrying the heavy duty boots, which in hindsight it probably should have been, but honestly I really thought that Dragapult wouldn't come in on a Great Tusk. That's definitely a risk for my opponent that has paid off in this battle. So we're just quickly waiting on my decision. Again, I was really considering all of my options here, so I'm really taking quite a lot of time to think of my moves. So let's see here. And he obviously stays in, he goes for the Dragon Dart. From that damage, I can tell that is likely not Choice Banded, otherwise that would definitely do more, given we are more offensive Great Tusk. And I decided to get some good chip damage off on the Dragapult with the Earthquake, which does quite a lot of damage. So here, I was honestly expecting the Dragapult to switch out, because it is actually very, very strong into my team still, despite its weakened state, because there's also no hazards up. So at this point, I was really, really expecting a switch here, because there is no way that the other team members, you know, there's plenty of other team members that can come in on my Great Tusk. And at this point, I was still really, really valuing trying to get rid of the rock. So my opponent actually stays in still and goes for Dragon Dart, because in his like for his, his thought process behind this was he really, really wanted those rocks to stay up because he was also going for a bit of an endgame plan, and he was willing to die for it. So to try and revenge kill me later with enamours or something. So he actually stays in and makes a very strong play and goes for a dragon dodge while he gets a completely free turn because I rapid spin again into a ghost type. Again, such big mind games going on, man. This is the battle of making the right reads. So at this point, unfortunately, my Great Tusk is very, very weakened. I do not have Dash Spin on the team, unfortunately, so there's no switch-ins I have anymore to this Dragon Darts. And the Emerald Miner is going to pick up the KO on my Great Tusk with the Dragon Ball. So the rocks are up for good, which is a problem. That is not good for my team, especially for Moltres, because that thing is now going to be severely crippled in its ability to take on the Enamours, which is mainly what we have it for. So at this point, obviously, I need a way to revenge kill the Dragapult, and unfortunately, because of the fact that I lost my Hydreigon turn 1, I can't quite go into that yet, which would have been really nice here. So I go into the second best option, which is obviously my nice and trusty King Gambit. This Pokemon, again, is also still meant to take on the Dragapult. We get the Supreme Overlord boost. And now I was thinking, do you know what? This thing is either going to have Substitute or Will-O-Wisp, because I don't think, it's been confirmed that this thing is not choiced. So what I was actually thinking here is to set up a Swords Dance, because I was really expecting a Will-O-Wisp, or I could have gone for the Kowtow Cleave straight away. However, the problem with Kowtow Cleave is that I really didn't want to Kowtow Cleave straight into a Fortress or into a Dragapult that was about to burn me. So I go for the Swords Dance play, while Emerald Miner does get up the Substitute. So no Will-O-Wisp, but he does now get another free turn. And as you saw, he is Expert Belt with Flamethrower and has more special attack investment than attack investment. So this Flamethrower is going to hurt my King Gambit quite a bit, which is definitely going to matter excuse me, down the line. Now, I do still take it rather well, thanks to my amazing defense investment. Obviously, I didn't want to take any other Will-O-Wisp risks, so I do just straight up go for the Kowtow Cleave, and the Substitute goes down. Now, this is where more mind games are going to start happening. My King Gambit quite literally has it in the name. Is he going to go for another Substitute, despite having no health left, or is he going to go for a Switch? I was really, really worried about either of those two situations and him just getting a free turn. I really didn't want to Sucker Punch into nothing, but at the same time, I felt like, you know what, I do still have, priority on my team, and also there could definitely still be a Scarfer in the back. So I was like, you know what, I don't think he'll save this Dragapult at 6 health, so I am actually going to be willing to risk it and try and go for the Sucker Punch. And if he does have Will-O-Wisp, so be it, we're going to have to take it. But, he's already revealed 3 moves at this point, and I don't think you'll have those 2 moves plus Sub and Will-O-Wisp, especially if there's no leftovers in there. So that's what I was thinking at this point in the game, and I do end up getting the Sucker Punch off because, like I said, my opponent went for the Flamethrower again. So very happy I got that read right, and King Gambit does pick up the KO on the Dragapult there. Now my opponent goes into the Enamours here, which as you can see is mixed. It has Superpower, obviously with the Contrary, Moonblast and Sludge Bomb. So this thing is easily going to take me out. Now unfortunately, because of the Dragapult chip, as you guys have seen from the team preview, I do still have the Chople Berry. However, thanks to Dragapult's Flamethrower chip, I am unfortunately now still in range of a Superpower. And I really didn't think that King Gambit would be of much use still. So at this point I was thinking I really just need to get damage on this Enamours. I was at this point still expecting it to be Specs. So I was more actually afraid of a Focus Blast or a Superpower coming my way. I didn't think you'd be Contrary into my team. I thought Special Enamours was a little bit better. But as we can see from here, obviously it is mixed. And it does go for the Superpower. I'm still considering going for a Switch at this point. But I do decide to just get Chip on the Enamours. And with the Supreme Overlord and +2, that does a lot of damage. If it was a crit, I would have killed, and King Gambit may have been able to get a pretty sick sweep going on there. But Enamours goes for the Superpower. I do eat my Chople Berry, but again, because of the chip from Dragapult, that is, it is not enough to save me from that 4x super effective Superpower there. And Mind Games the King Gambit goes down, while Enamours now has a +1 attack and defense boost. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, the item of Enamours is still unknown to me, and that could definitely come back to bite me, because the Scarf, the Rotom and the Enamours, I'm thinking at this point, are both choiced, but I don't know what exactly. So at this point, I go into my Moltres. I do still take massive damage from the Stealth Rocks again, which is why I was so desperate to get rid of those. But I thought if the Enamorus is locked into that, into superpower, there's no way it's going to stay in. So Moltres is still going to be able to force this thing out after doing that. Now, coming up, I'm going to make a bit of a misplay because my opponent here actually makes a very strong aggressive switch into the Lycanroc, which I didn't think would come in on a Moltres, honestly. I didn't think you'd swap that in straight away, especially because I have revealed the gimmick of Solar Beam plus Power Herb before in the league. So I'd actually tried to go for a Roost, actually anticipating the Alolan Muck to come in, to be fully healthy, to be able to burn that and take that on, or to get a bit of extra chip for Iron Leaves. But as you can see, my opponent has gone straight into the Lycanroc, and that play has not paid off for me here. So the Roost is going to go completely wasted because I'm going to be forced to switch out here, and the Stealth Rocks are going to dig back in again. Jeez, I can't talk. The Stealth Rocks are going to dig back into Moltres, so the health that I just got back from the Roost is going to be offset once again automatically. And because of the fact that I lost Great Tusk, I can't spin them away again anymore, unfortunately. So Moltres at this point is definitely suffering from those rocks. And yeah, again, I really should have been heavy boots, I think, for this battle. I think the Binding Metal was hella greedy. Alright, sorry about that, we're back. This battle is actually split into two different parts, so I have to record them differently. I did actually really want to scout for what this Lycanroc was going to do here, though, so I decided to go for the Protect that I have, just to see what move it would have, whether it would have Rock Slide or Stone Edge, or whether it would go for a prediction, but it turns out it does still have the Rock Slide. So I do still want to keep Moltres around, because if the Enamorus is Choice Scarf, it actually does really, really well against the rest of my team still, and it actually still outspeeds Iron Leaves as well. Enamorus is 2 base points faster than Iron Leaves, and I really obviously need to be able to have that thing weakened or even gone by the time Iron Leaves would come in, because even if he forces me to Terra earlier before Enamorus comes in, then obviously while being a fighting type, I'm going to be at a massive disadvantage. So I decided to save my Moltres mainly for the Enamorus sake. And I go into my Rotom Wash, which thankfully at this point is still at full health. So my opponent is going to hit me with the Rock Slide, but because of the Life Orb, that actually does end up 2-KOing me after the Rock damage as well. So I'm now in a bit of a bad spot. I really, really want to get rid of this Lycanroc, but unfortunately, again, because of the bulk that I have, I'm not Choice Scarf and Choice Specs. I'm not going to be able to kill this thing. However, as you will be able to see from here, this turn, I think, is actually going to be a bit of a big sort of decider in the match result, because it turns out that after this, at this point in the game, my opponent actually did think I was Choice Scarf, so he goes for the Accelerock and misses out on the KO, which is a big deal. I'm able to go for the Choice Specs, Max Special Attack, Modest Volt Switch, and because of how frail Lycanroc is, that actually does end up taking out. So Rotom Wash lives and gets the KO on the Lycanroc, which is a big, big deal. Now, I am on 3 health currently, so I'm not going to be able to switch back in, but Rotom getting the KO on the Lycanroc there was a big, big deal. That is another form of priority that Iron Leaves was not going to be able to, or was not going to have to deal with, sorry. So here I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try and deny the entry of the Enamorus. Obviously, we do know it has superpower, so it can definitely try to set up on me and, snowball out of control. So I decided to just go into my Moltres here, also because it is the least valuable, because it just simply can't switch in more than once, and he goes into the Rotom Mow. Now, unfortunately, if I was actually an offensive Moltres this week, I think that would have actually worked out a bit better, because Moltres is naturally faster than Rotom Mow. Obviously, and because this thing has Choice Spec, as we can see here, not Scarf, I would have actually been able to outspeed it here and KO it. But that's not the case. We are bulky, and he is max speed, so he's going to be able to outspeed me and one-hit KOing me with the Volt Switch. Obviously, there was really nothing I could have done about there, because Great Tusk is gone, I can't switch into a Volt Switch, and Moltres is just going to be forced down here. Now, in comes the Enamorus again. This thing is a problem, especially because I, at this point, only have 2 Pokemon left. I have my Rotom Wash on 3 HP, and I have my one and only mascot, the Iron Leaf. So just like in week 1 against the Trailblazers, we are in a very, very tough spot. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is do or die time for Iron Leaves. My mascot is going to have to come in here and try to save the day. So at this point, I'm just doing a quick few calcs to see if Iron Leaves can actually take down the KO. Obviously, I do have the Terastallization still available to me, which is very big. So I'm going to just quickly deciding which Pokemon I'm going to try to need to use that on. So I come in with the Verizon, the Iron Leaves, my mascot. I do take stealth rock damage, obviously, because I'm not boots, and we are going to activate the boost energy, which is going to give me a speed boost. So if this thing is not choice scarfed, I am faster than it. However, unfortunately, as we know, it is. It's going to be able to get a hit off on me before I'm able to grab the KO. Now, I was actually thinking here, do you know what? We need to get rid of this Enamorate. It could potentially, do some damage against us after the Terra if he switches. So I just quickly went for the Psyblade, hoping that he would stay in, because I really wanted the KO on the Enamorous here. And I needed to try and get set up to break past the remaining Pokemon, especially the Alolan Muck at this point, which still has a lot of health remaining. So my opponent is quickly making the consideration of swapping something, like sacking it off. And there's honestly quite a lot of plays he can make. So I really need to get this turn right. He can obviously go for a Healing Wish, he can go for a Sludge Bomb, but he actually decides to go for the safer play of the Moonblast, which would have done more damage typically because it's stab, to a non-Terra type. But I don't Terastallize yet because I really didn't want to be a fighting type in front of a fairy type. So I stay a Grass Psychic type, and I'm going to be able to take out the Enamorous with a Psyblade, but not before eating a Moonblast, which does unfortunately do quite a bit of chip to me. So because of the fact that I don't have a Swords Dance up yet, my opponent does still have Pokemon that can take a hit from me. And again, this really is do or die, because Rotom Wash is weakened. It's not going to be able to come back in after the Rocks damage, so it needs to be able to... Iron Leaf needs to finish the game right here and now. Now, in front of a Dark type, this thing is also a Poison type. However, as a Grass Psychic type, I am both weak to Dark and Poison, while the Fighting type allows me to resist Dark and be neutral to Poison. So I really thought, obviously, now is the time. There really is going to be no other point at which we're going to be able to grab this boost to break past Alolan Muck and Fortress. So now we're going to hit it with the Terastallization. We are going to go Terastallize into a fighting type. Boom, there it is. And yeah, like I said, we really are going to have to go all in on this potential sweep. So my opponent actually, obviously I go for the Swords Dance, try to get that greedy boost. With the Terastallization, that's going to give me a different typing, and it does work out phenomenally as my opponent goes for a knockoff that would have otherwise been super effective. And because of the fact that I've already consumed the boost energy, it is only at 65 base power, which is amazing. So I'm able to grab my Swords Dance boost, and now a +2 Terra Fighting boost in close combat, which is now Stab, is going to be able to finish off the Alolan Muck. So I'm thinking right now, oh my god, I'm in an amazing spot. Can we pull this off? Can Iron Leaves pull this off for the Leaf Agents and take down the undefeated coach? It's happening right here. Now, funnily enough, while this was happening, I was actually so nervous that I completely forgot that Iron Leaves outsped Rotom naturally, and I was still, for some reason, worried about the Rotom being scarfed. But regardless, the Fortress comes in because of the chip earlier from Great Tuskfang to the Fire Fang. That was excellent teamwork, as it is now in range of that +2 close combat, which Iron Leaf now carries, and actually is able to finish off the Fortress in its weakened state, which is exactly the game plan that we were going for. So I am so proud of Iron Leaf. But as soon as Rotom came in, I quickly realized, oh, wait a minute, even if this thing is scarfed, I obviously have my boost energy, and I'm faster than this thing. There's no way this thing ever outspeeds me, and at the health that it's at, thanks to Hydreigon, it may have gone down turn 1, but it did get the crucial chip to get Rotom taken down, and that is game, set, and match. Iron Leaf takes down Rotom and brings home the victory for the Leaf Agents. Absolutely incredible match. Thank you so much, Emerald Miner, for lending me your footage. Very happy I got to commentate this match still, but that is going to be the game. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed that battle and my little post commentary about it. We will be back facing Apparator 54, coach of the Machesney Park Slowpokes next week, as I told you guys. And that is obviously just going to be a simple Wi-Fi battle with my own live commentary and, perspective, because that's a mistake I'm never going to repeat again. So that's going to be it for this one. Crazy battle, and we actually pulled it off, so we are still in the run for playoffs, which is amazing. So let's see how next week goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in Week 9. Peace.